regular season and see who is going to be eliminated and who is going to be playing in those double eliminations. My name is Gordo. I'm joined today by TDS. TDS, welcome back. We're on the verge of NACL OQ number 2, and we got some ACL action ahead of us.
You could technically say that this can work as a preview for what we'll see. Technically, I wouldn't call it that, but technically you can say that. And in the meanwhile, we have the NACL OQ play-ins starting tomorrow, so it's going to be an interesting weekend ahead of us with a lot of potential high-level play, a lot of players that are going to get showcased, and really excited to be able to see it on the number 1 team broadcast with TA. So it's going to be really exciting overall, and me and Gordo are going to be there, so it's going to be even better, right?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a big party here. But tonight we are kicking things off with CB Gaming. We'll also be there tomorrow, taking on Meme City Esports. These teams kind of lower in our standings here. Both are sitting at 1-4 in match record, but those 1-4 records, they are not created equal. TDS. CB Gaming sitting in a much healthier position at 5-8 in the game record. Meme City Esports lagging behind at 2-8. But both of these teams still have a chance to make a big run at the end of the season and still end up with one of those last 2 qualifying spots in their conference for playoffs. CB Gaming, a win here will really help them step up to compete with the likes of Packwatch and TA Prime. And they'll play Redacted next week. So another matchup up against a lower rated team could really set them up for success.
Yeah, they have the better odds in terms of the teams that they are playing against because they are technically below them. Both in standings and in how they go against each other. So I think that could be a really good opportunity for CB Gaming to go through. Or Meme City, you could argue that they have the chance, but I think that their results are much more depending on being able to 2-0 consistently, and that's much harder than what CB has to do. That's why I think that when considering what these teams need to accomplish, CB probably has a much better chance than Meme City, and the expectation that they can go through is much higher than Meme City as well. That being said, we don't know what can happen. Meme City out of nowhere could take the 2 victories back to back, and that way try and qualify. It also doesn't fully depend on them, right? Like they still also need a slip from one of the 2 teams ahead of them to try and go into that spot potentially.
Yeah, and that's where Meme City's chance kind of comes in here, because while they have that worst game record, they get to play CB Gaming this week, and then they're going to play TA Prime next week. So they get to play against other teams that are in contention for that kind of 6th place last slot into playoffs. So if they can really turn things around here at the very last hurdle and start to have a big run of it right here at the end of the season, then they can take their fate into their own hands a little bit, knock down some of these competitors, and work their way into 6th place. Will also require, as you said, a little bit of slipping from some of the other contenders, but it is still possible for them to actually get their way here. Either way, it's going to take a win here for either of the teams to be able to make it happen.
Exactly. It's still going to start with a victory. You still need to secure your 2-0 victory today, or 2-1 victory in case of CB a bit more so than for Meme City. So as long as you're able to secure that, that's going to change a lot of the factors looking forward. Also, quickly to mention with Meme City, just to confirm, they did have an ESOP coming through tonight, right? So they are going to lose their first 2 bans. For the first game, if I'm not wrong, the second game doesn't apply, but for the first game, they are losing their first 2 bans. So that can make a bit of an interesting dynamic, especially looking forward for a first game that can set up momentum for the series. And CB has to try and take advantage of that as much as possible.
Definitely the case here. They have Attack Dog coming in, I assume at 80 carry. I don't think we know that for 100% fact, but Attack Dog is an 80 carry player. I'm going to assume that, you know, they're bringing in an E-sub ADC for their ADC. It's possible that everything's gone belly up and that won't be the case, but I'm going to make that assumption here as looks like, is this a new feature for Draft Lull where we could just take away the bans right up front? Because that's very nice that we don't even have to wait down the timer. Gonna be, you know, we're getting better all the time here, TDS. That's good stuff to see. So yeah, we'll see how Meme City are going to be able to navigate this ESUB. I believe they have to live with the ban penalty up until they get their starter back. As long as they're using the ESUB, I think they have the ban penalty.
Yeah, that's hurtful then. I wasn't sure if it was just the first game or if it affects for both games, but if it's both games, that is going to be, at the very least, a bit of an edge for CB Gaming. That being said, we can't remember last split, we did have a team that went through for a couple of games without the first 3 bans, and they were able to make a run. So I wouldn't take away that it's possible, but it's still really, really difficult. And the bans coming through pretty straightforward. A lot of the champions that have been consistent in the meta are still getting banned away. The LeBlanc, the Kai'Sa, the Maokai. The Jax is a much more interesting one because I feel like it has to be really targeted in certain situations, but apart from them, pretty straightforward. And the Rel, with the now potential Rel jungle coming through, we don't know where this Rel is going to go, but I'm excited to see if they are able to flex it around or not on CBG.
Yeah, I absolutely am too here. That Rel lock-in is that flex position as well. Could be played in support, could be played in jungle. Looking at the CV Gaming roster, I would think it's going to be Rel in support for the Chaka. That's generally the bigger Rel player here. Doubtful brings out a lot of those different carry champions, has been playing a lot of the Graves, a lot of the Lee Sins, a lot of the Karthuses, a much different pace than what Rel brings to the table. Because there's anything I've learned from watching these Rel jungle games and competitive the last couple of weeks TDS is that this champion does no damage.
It's not for the damage, it's there not, for the setup. It's kind of like Nautilus, although for some reason Nautilus does still quite a bit of damage. So it's going to be comparable to that. I would love to see, though, bringing up the potential carry junglers. Would be really great to see the Rel stand in the support position, but playing around the fact that you can go for those carry style junglers, try and maximize the amount of damage in that position, and then try and play around the jungler being able to carry you out really, really well. The champion isn't yet shown, but it's Barris. You can see it on the small letters over there. And with the engaged potential for the Rel, you do have a lot of good pick potential to come through, and they are going for that pseudo carry jungler. A lot of damage on the Lee Sin. Will be able to find a lot of good kicks, especially with not a lot of mobility on the side of the Milio and the Ashe. That being said, Milio here has a pretty good opportunity to be the shining star of the game, because the Milio can push away both the Rel and the Lee Sin depending on where they are going to come through, and then even adding a Rek'Sai on top of that to try and deny the engaged potential from CVG.
Okay, and I am getting confirmation it is still Pain Shell in for Meme City Esports as well, so it is going to be on top of the E-sub. It's going to be that same mid laner that we did see last week when we covered Meme City as well. So gonna still be in on that new mid laner. He showed us some interesting stuff last week. Played a game of Galio, came fairly close to being able to counter out some of the interesting stuff CCG was pulling out. So we'll have our eyes on what he's going to be playing here. He's drawing those Anivia bans for right now, though. That's definitely an interesting one to see coming on across. And now going to be that Rek'Sai in the jungle for Meme City, that Lee Sin for Doubtful. And yeah, we're in a tank jungle meta TDS, but these guys have not gotten the memo.
There's some junglers that you can pull up that can do damage, but yeah, technically it's a tank meta, and these players do not want to play those tanks in the jungle. At the very least, not for now. Maybe the second game we do see them coming through, but with the second rotation of bans gone, now we go into the second rotation of picks, and you want to try and pair up these junglers with something that can be aggressive and can elevate their potential damage early on in the game. These are really good early game junglers, and you want to pair them up with something that can aggressively go with them. The Ahri going to try and fit that build, going to try and deal damage with the Rek'Sai, move around with her and try and accomplish as much as possible as a 2v2 duo, or as the two mid lane jungle duo moving around the map. And the Lee Sin needs something quite similar to that. That is a Diana in the mid lane. Okay.
This is a big pick for Tuzio, their most played champion in solo queue at 179 games this season. Have not really gotten to bust it out very much in the ACL. I mean, it's not the kind of pick that most people are playing these days, but I love to see it here, especially paired up with all this dive with the Lee Sin and the Rel. This is a great Diana angle.
It's pretty much committed on being able to dive in and kill the Milio and the Ashe as soon as possible, because the Ahri and the Rek'Sai are going to look for that similar idea, but by themselves. There's no backup yet on that. And then the last pick, Urgot, for the top lane with no pick yet shown from Meme City. It's going to be quite dangerous to go for it blindly. That being said, there's a universe where you can actually flex these around and send the Urgot towards the mid lane, and instead send the Diana towards the top lane maybe, or the Lee Sin as well. These are champions that can be flexed around. We haven't seen it that much, but it's possible. And then Meme City closed it out with a K'Sante. Pretty straightforward comp from Meme City all around when you think about it. The only outlier really the Rek'Sai, but can still find quite a bit of value if you're able to move around with her well enough. CBG though has a lot of engage, a lot of desire to kill people, and I'm not sure that you're going to find a lot of value late in the game. They are really committed to being able to snowball really heavily early on.
Yeah, a whole bunch of pick power here available for Meme City. You know, they're going for a more meta composition where they're really focused in on being able to isolate these targets and take them out individually. But CB Gaming, we said it, they're the team that has probably the better chance of clawing back their way into the playoffs from their current position, and they're betting it all on the comfort picks here, baby. The Diana, the Lee Sin, the Urgot. These are not champions that we see a lot in the meta, but they are comfort picks for the CB Gaming roster. So they're really going to bet on themselves here and say, oh, look, we can ignore the meta, we can play whatever it is that we're good at and trust that that'll carry us through up against MCE.
And honestly, the main thing that I'm looking out for, thinking about how potentially good or bad it can be, is the Diana. The Urgot does have a lot of value in certain situations, and even the ultimate can, thanks to the fact that it can be sent from a long distance, you can kind of play around with it really, really well. You know, he also does have quite a good laning phase that if you're able to exploit, can find a lot of value. But the Diana is way more volatile compared to the Urgot in this situation. Won't get the push advantage over the Ahri, or pretty sure she doesn't get the push advantage over the Ahri. The ultimate value, even though it's great, it's not going to be the most ideal unless you get towards the champions that you can explode, which are technically Milio and the Ashe pretty much. The Ahri and the Rek'Sai should be able to escape, and K'Sante is K'Sante, so it shouldn't be the right target to try and focus. And then her engage is pretty straightforward. Ahri can just charm her in the face if she tries to dash forward, so it's really difficult to be sure about how you're going to be able to execute on this. And if you don't get ahead early on, or if you don't find value effectively with the Lee Sin, you're going to not only find really a lot of difficulty to try and engage on champions, but also to deal damage and not get exploded immediately.
For sure. Attack Dog going to be locking in their Ashe, so everybody's going exactly where we expected them to. I mean, not really a lot of crazy opportunity for flexes based on the drafts that have come on across. I like how this has come together. I mean, it's definitely going to be a clash of styles, right? Between this hard dive, hard engage coming through from CB Gaming and Meme City, trying to go for that more pick-oriented style. They definitely have some good targets they can get onto. You know, the Diana, good at going in, not so mobile when she's trying to get out. And Varus going to be very much in that same position where he can't really go in either direction. And if he gets snared up by this Ahri, if he's got a Rek'Sai flashing on him, if he gets hit by Enchanted Crystal Arrow, all of these things are really going to seal his fate. So the Jusu going to have to play a little bit safer here and make sure that they are going to be able to stay alive. But as long as they can do that, they can play these front to backs, they can rely on their hard engage comp to lock down all of the crucial targets, and that's going to be their recipe for success. Yeah,
ideally that would be the best situation possible to try and play around with it. The main thing though is the fact that the snowball does need to, for a certain bit, happen. I want to see CBG try and go as hard as possible with that in mind. Yes, there's lanes that may look difficult, but if you're able to get a bit of a snowball going, then the rest of the game can try and work itself out really effectively. Because I do think that if they get to a equal spot going towards the 30-minute mark, I would even argue 28-minute mark, the 30-minute mark, around that timing, that's where it becomes really difficult for CBG. Champions will begin outscaling them. They are going to begin feeling a bit more danger in terms of what they can try and find, and then also the objectives are going to matter a lot. If they don't collect the early objectives, that can also transpire into Meme City getting opportunities to try and come back into the game, and that's the space where it's really scary for them to try and play around.
Well, and here's the thing, TDS, you're talking about 28 minutes in. That is an eternity away when these are the junglers that we're looking at for this first game. Lee Sin and Rek'Sai, these are some level 3 junglers, man. I would be really surprised if we don't end up seeing, somebody substantially ahead come around that 14-minute mark, right? One of these junglers is going to find their marks and is going to get those early kills. Now, if neither of them do, or if both of them do, if they manage to trade evenly, then we're going to start to see these compositions clash at more even footing. But that's a big if. I mean, there's a really big chance for either Positive Pete or Doubtful to build themselves up that lead early on, and for these composition interactions to really get thrown out of whack.
It's where it begins to become fun for both sides when your junglers are doing good and you're able to try and snowball and find kills. That's where it really shines through. The unlucky part would be, like you're pointing out, if they don't find those sort of things, right? If Lee Sin and Rek'Sai go into, let's say, 15 minutes with no kills to either jungler, you pretty much are going to just have the most useless junglers for the entirety of the game. Well, maybe not Lee Sin. I would argue at least Lee Sin has the kick. Rek'Sai is Rek'Sai. That's already kind of bad in and of itself, but if she doesn't get ahead at any point, then her utility falls down quite a bit comparatively to, at the very least, the Lee Sin kick. So there's angles to try and find around with that. But like you're pointing out, I expect to see blood really early on. Like, yes, there's lanes that are kind of difficult to try and gank, but there's good setup in each of the lanes. Like top lane, bot lane, and mid lane all have some sort of CC that they can play around with. Diana level 6 until level 6 does hazards, but every other lane does have CC that you can play with. So it's really good for both sides to try and look for these plays, and I think they are going to be able to find them early on.
And, you know, starting even as early as level 1, I mean, that's a great angle for Meme City to try to make something happen. They got some great level 1 setups for themselves here. The slows coming through from the Ashe, the cozy campfire from Melio, giving everybody range, giving everybody that extra healing, Ari charms. All these things are going to be super valuable. Meanwhile, champions like Diana and Urgot, they want to have combos. They want to have sets of abilities that they can cast together to be able to make something really happen. And those are not going to be available at that level 1. So CBG gonna have to probably play a little bit on the defensive early on, make sure that they don't get themselves caught out early by Meme City.
So you think that there's going to be a level 1 from Meme City? Yeah,
I'm bet for it. Yeah, I mean, that would be my call. If I'm coach of Meme City Esports right now, I'm saying, all right, boys, we're invading somewhere. We're invading bot slide. We're invading top side. What if we practice more? We're going for either one of those.
Pick one side of the map and go all in there. If you find a kill, that's it, game's over. If you don't, it's okay, we'll still have time. That's pretty much the conversation pre-draft.
Yeah, for sure. As long as, maybe don't make positive P2 smite fight or something. The execute damage from the Lee Sin, it's going to get a little scary, but try to find yourself the opportunity to pressure people out. Try to find yourself the opportunity to put CB Gaming on the back foot early on. You've got the superior level 1. That's what I want to see. When we're early game jungler against early game jungler, getting the first move is going to be really important.
And I feel like we've been lacking a bit of early game level 1s in ACL. Like, I think teams have had the desire to go for them, but we never really get them fighting and killing each other for those level 1s. I think we need to see more of them. So if any team can pull them through, would be great for us to see it coming.
Oh yeah. So we'll see. Maybe Meme City can deliver for us here. I mean, we saw some real entertaining matches from them last week, but they were not able to come out with a win in either one. We'll see if maybe they're a little stream cursed. Maybe they can turn it back around now that they've got a little bit more experience dealing with having to be on the old official Twitch stream here. CB Gaming, I believe this is our first time featuring them so far this season. Maybe like way back in like week 1 or something. But we'll see. I mean, they're probably a different team at this point. They've been practicing. They've been going through multiple patches. They've figured out what's worked and what hasn't here in the ACL. And I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. A better team than their record indicates, right? You see 1-4 and you immediately start thinking very bad thoughts. But they are really only 3 losses under wins. They just keep going 1-2 in their regular season matches and losing out on them. But when they have won convincingly. And when they've lost, they've put up a good fight.
Yeah, and when you technically think about it, right, they're facing Meme City right now. And then next week, they have a similar matchup against Redacted, the 2 teams that are below them. So technically, they've had a really tough schedule looking forward. And more than likely, those 3 losses come from the top teams.
Yeah, for sure. They've also had a rough schedule of it. I mean, they've been in a pretty competitive group themselves, I do have to say. CB Gaming sitting here in that Demacia group with the Exodia Exiles, Chaotic Solar, Primal Instinct, all those teams fighting to be in the top 2. They had probably the closest race of any group to be in top 2. And, you know, Team Ambition Prime, they're no pushovers either. So a tough group for them for sure to have played in. And now they've got themselves a shot at some easier matchups to round things out. Let's see if they can prove that it will be an easier matchup for them here up against Meme City.
Exactly. I would argue that if they are able to actually take this victory, I can see them next week being like really fighting for that spot. Obviously, it depends on one team kind of fumbling the back on the other side, but I think it's possible. Like, we're at the end of the season. Like, this is a spot where really expectations, even if they were high, can crumble if you're not careful enough. And already good trades in each lane.
All right, well, we get no level 1 TDS. The closest thing we get to a level 1 is Spencer going for this early game Urgot setup onto Asadero. He gets a couple of shots there off the shotgun knees. It's a little bit of bonus damage. And Spencer, as we said earlier, big Urgot fan. He'll know some of the ins and outs. He'll know some of the tricks he can go for here. And he's going for one right now, getting the very early disdain, pulling Asadero back in. Asadero, no flash here, can't get away in time. He's going to go down for first blood.
Talk about knowing the ins and outs of a champion. Immediate flash at level 1. I was thinking if he had just brought the ignite out, he probably gets the soul kill. He gets it either way, forces his way, and with that already early good start for CBG. Really good play there by Spencer, and that goes to show that he does like to play this champion and knows what to try and accomplish there.
Yeah, I mean, good awareness by Asadero to realize he was doomed and not blow the ghost. I mean, a lot of people will panic ghost there, and then you're going to be down the summoner as well as that death. So at least he'll still have that tool, and he's going to need it because, I mean, Spencer is going to be walking back up here, doesn't have to expend the teleport. He's going to have TP advantage, and it's going to just get even harder for him to do these fights as he's going to be down in gold.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I think he was like, showing that you're dead already, kind of unlucky, but yeah, better not to blow anything out. Ooh, attack dog.
Ooh.
Takes a bit of damage.
Yeah, cleanse blown early on. Shaka gonna flash back out though, so it really is actually a summoner spell advantage for Meme City. Attack dog not having to blow too much there for Chaka's flash and ignite.
Yeah, bit unlucky there with the positioning of the minions, pretty much forcing the flash out of the Chaka because of the way it was blocked around. And with the Rek'Sai now down on the bot side, I think they have to be extra careful about how they try to approach this sort of fights or that sort of engages, just in case they are way too far forward. Also, quickly to point out, Ajosu not taking cleanse in this matchup. There's the Rek'Sai and the charm from the Aerie plus enchanted crystal arrow. Surprisingly, he's not being a bit more careful around those abilities.
I am as well. I mean, the thinking might just be, you know, we're going to be the ones going in. We are going to be the proactive team in this matchup, so not going to need it, but that's bold. I'll say that, TDS. It's certainly not a guaranteed result. As Positive Pete paying a little visit here. Let's going to see how Ajosu's going to be able to navigate this. Going to blow that heal for the movement speed. Can't do that with Cleanse, and they will be able to kite it out.
A nice heal plus the stun there to stop the Rek'Sai from coming through. Staying on bot lane, but probably with the wave getting pushed, not going to accomplish much. And at the end, it's just another summoner blown for the side of CBG. Obviously, it's the heal, so it's not the most dangerous to lose out on, but it's still good small advantages that Meme City are finding after that catastrophe, that really, really bad first blood up there in the top lane.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see Spencer taking the biggest advantage he can off of that. He's got himself about a 1 minion wave CS lead. That's going to be mostly evened up by Asadero here, actually. It's a pretty big wave crashing in, but the timers are still in Spencer's favor. He's farming up with that cull. He's going to have some additional gold off the back of that one, and it's going to be coming back with the hammer to make sure he's going to be able to keep on punishing Asadero.
He also does still have teleport advantage, so even if he messes up or makes a big mistake or gets ganked, he has the teleport to try and come back there and salvage a bit of the situation. With that in mind, I'm kind of looking forward to the plays 5 minutes from now, because when the teleports do unlock, will there be a teleport advantage for CBG or for Meme City? We've seen a lot of teams trying to force their fights over on the bot side, and having the teleport advantage can really make or break a lot of those situations, as well as who has the most damage, because right now Doubtful, it seems like he's going for lethality Lee Sin with that serrated Dirk pickup.
He's got the red minion too, the Scorch Claw pup, so you know, thinking about damage, has that on the mind, wants to be able to assassinate some of these targets, and that's kind of the whole team composition for CV Gaming, is to just find your targets and blow them up. A nice charm there landed by Pain Shell, going to slow down 2Zio's advance. I think that puts the E on cooldown as well, because it probably wasn't able to connect with that Moonfall target.
It does, if I'm pretty sure it does, because like you're pointing out, it doesn't connect, so you don't get the auto reset that it comes through with that. And that's a thing that we have to keep on looking forward in future fights, is will the Diana get stunned like that from the charm, or will it not matter at all? That's the difference between winning and losing fights, pretty much.
Definitely, especially in the matchup against the Sienna. Nice dodge there for 2Zio. Dives back on in, has the Moonfall available. Pain Shell going to have to use the ultimate, but is going to have lost so much HP. That's certainly going to be a recall coming on through from Pain Shell. Nice play by 2Zio.
And you can see how important that minigame with the charm is. Fail the charm, Ducio does go forward and tries to go for the kill. If you hit the charm, more than likely he retreats and doesn't try to go forward because he's taking a pretty bad trade anyway. But at the end of the day, it is just ultimate for ultimate. Not much going to be lost in that fight. And now maybe a kill here onto the Rek'Sai though.
Yeah, Pain Shell walking back on up, and access to the ultimate not available at that time. Meanwhile, Positive Pete getting fought by Doubtful, who is at a level advantage. Positive Pete could go down here. Dragon's Rage is available, but Doubtful can't get it off. He goes Pain Shell instead, and CB Gaming get themselves another to start it off.
Yeah, Pain Shell doesn't respect the flash potential there from the Lee Sin, plus the fact that Doubtful was level 6 advantage for, oh wait.
All in onto Attack Dog, nothing available here, does hit level 6, throws out the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but it's not enough. Josu from a level disadvantage takes down the other ADC, has that CS lead too, and CB Gaming, they're winning in every lane.
And they are doing what they need to do. We talked about this, Gordo. It's fight, win, snowball, and push through with that. Really well played, and also showcasing what you were talking about. I don't need the cleanse if we're doing the fighting, because even with this Enchanted Crystal Arrow, it doesn't matter for a Josu. He just tanks it and then kills the Ashe. Great fights all around the map. Great kills for everyone. The only one that we didn't see much action from was top lane, but they already got a first blood, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and the focus has been because of those ganks, because that early first blood on the top solo lanes for the side of CB Gaming, is Spencer's actually going in for another one here. Not going to be able to finish him off, but is going to be able to force the ghost out of Asadero. As I was saying, Attack Dog, the E-sub here for Meme City, really struggling in the 2-on-2, down about 20 CS now versus Ojosu off of that death.
Yeah, not only did he had to sub in a tough situation for Meme City because of the position in the standings and how this match could be important, but also being down in lane, not the best situation, also dying to the 2v2 fight. It's really not the best look for Attack Dog so far, but he can still find a way to try and turn it around. Ducio. Okay,
Go experiment. He's up here. He's trying to make sure that they go on in, but there's going to be that Chains of Corruption thrown down from a Josu. They see Belko experiment in the bottom lane, and they say, Attack Dog, you cannot be up here, my man. 4-0 CB Gaming.
Slight miscommunication between the AD carry and the support, and CBG takes full advantage out of that play. They force the kill. Wait, maybe there's more?
All right, little return play here from Pain Shell, dashing forward with the Spirit Rush. Gets pulled back in by the Magnet Storm. Nicely played by Chaka. But now, maybe in a little bit of trouble themselves, going to have to back away. Instead goes for the crash down in. They want to fight Pain Shell inside this minion wave. Belko experiment going to go down. That's 2 kills over to CB Gaming. They turn the play right back around.
It's 2 kills for CB Gaming, but that play is completely and fully on Chaka. He played that off so well. Perfectly executed, stopping the Ari for as long as possible. Oh wait.
Oh, Positive Pete, he's trying to find a target. He's trying to turn it back around, but he just gets melted by the damage of Tuzio and a Josu there. CB Gaming can do no wrong. Meme City trying to earn themselves something back, but they just give up more.
And I think Positive Pete needs to live up to his name after that play, because right now the dynamic in the team is probably not the best. But we can see how Attack Duck dies really quickly, but the whole play here is on Chaka. First is stopping the initial potential engage from the Ari, canceling the second dash perfectly with the ultimate, and even though she goes for the last one, it doesn't really matter. Chaka still has, by the way, the W engage potential to re-engage for the fight, which uses as soon as they use every beat of CC. They know that Diana is coming down. Ari doesn't have to ultimate anymore, so even if she has damage, she's probably not going to get the kill to try and kill this or shut down this Paris, and they turn it around pretty well. We don't see the Rek'Sai kill, but it doesn't matter, he dies.
And all of the money is going to a Josu. He is 4-0-1 now on this Varus. Already has the Static Shiv completed, and even while that one's been nerfed, it's still plenty valuable, especially when you get your hands on it this early in the game. Attack Dog still just sitting at the recurve bow and a couple of swords, massively behind in this matchup. It's going to be so hard for them to do anything now.
Yeah, I would argue, even if it's nerfed, the Static Shift is still in a really good spot if both LeBlanc and Kaiser are still permabanned. So would argue that it really doesn't matter that much. And with that lead that they do have down there on the bot side, they are now going to secure the second dragon of the game. It's going to be Mountain Soul as well. If not for that first secure over from the Rek'Sai, this really could have been a dangerous spot to be in as Meme City.
Oh, crucial dodge there from Pain Shell on the Spirit Rush. Would have gone down if they got pulled in by that Moonfall.
Really well done. And now the Diana may be re-engaged here.
Yeah, has to get back over to Chaka and Doubtful. They are coming in for the backup. The shielding going to come through, but there's the execute in from Positive Pete, but he will.
Can he run?
Actually, thanks to that Dragon's Rage, but now Doubtful finds the Sonic Wave and finds the kill. It's a 1-for-1, but that's what Meme City needs. They got that shutdown gold onto their Rek'Sai.
100%. They needed that sort of kill to happen. Oh, Wade, Kisante.
Sidero in the middle of everybody here. He is Fear Beyond Death, and now he's just a couple of shots away from dropping, but looks like he was able to use the work to get out of there. But Pain Shell not going to be nearly as lucky, getting dove underneath that mid lane outer turret. Going to go down for a killing spree, and Rift Herald is here to back up the damage onto the turret. CB Gaming get themselves even more.
Not gonna lie, I'm more surprised that Oxidero didn't die in that play. With all that damage from Spencer, he doesn't secure the kill and is able to run away thanks to the ghost. But the dive, even though it was a little bit botched, because at the end it's Elysian that tanks everything, they still get the kill into the Ari, the plates, value, the gold, everything in their favor. And they also got a plate for Spencer, so even though there's no kill on the Kisente, it's still gold for the Urgot and gold for everyone. I really want to see this. So he gets the damage here. He gets the ulti down as well on point. Is he just that quick?
Yeah, I think it's just footwork. It's Ghost. Another little dash, another little shield. He's just too far away.
Yeah, it's way too much speed, health, and also I think a bit of regen that salvages that play, because it simply wasn't enough for the execute.
Cassante things, man. He gets to... What's the copy pasta from Showmaker? He gets to dash. It's on a 2-second cooldown. It costs 15 mana.
I swear, I don't remember the copy pasta. I just remember Showmaker at the end screaming the with all the suffering in the world, pretty much.
Yep. My man's been having a rough time up against this. Cassante is now getting flipped back on in. Asadero having a tough time as the Cassante. Spencer keeping that pressure on, but there's 3 members up here to try to deal with him. Asadero trying to chase him down. Then Fear Beyond Death is available. Will it be enough?
Oh, that is such a good cancel.
He hasn't found himself a target though, and here comes Diana. 3-hit Moonfall. Doubtful goes on a rampage. CB Gaming turn the play back around.
Spencer was winning that play from the start. He played it off perfectly in the meanwhile, and then when everyone got there, it was doomed. There's no Ari close by. It's 3-on-3, and those 3 have more gold than your 3. And CBG not only secured those 3 kills, they get turret topside, turret bot side, and no real answer. Painshell may actually end up dying here if he's not careful enough.
Painshell is being spotted the whole way through. Chains of Corruption not going to land, but Chaka going to keep him locked down with the crash down. Charm not going to find its target, but Ajosu knows it's time to back away. Attack Dog and Belko Experiment are coming in for the backup. They are just going to channel the recall here, and nobody's going to end up going down.
Yeah, Chains of Corruption missing there. It's missing the kill, but I'm pretty sure Ajuso doesn't really care. As long as he's alive and he gets gold, it doesn't really matter if they get that kill or not. They are still so far ahead at this point that it really doesn't matter that much, and they are going to get Rift Herald and contested, I would believe.
Asadero once again face checking into Spencer's Urgot, and that's how the game started. That's how the game intends to go on. As Asadero just getting less and less favored in these kinds of scenarios. As a brawl over the Rift Herald building up here. Doubtful has landed that Sonic Wave as they're looking to posture and get deeper into the pit. Here comes Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Does not find its mark though. No assistance from Attack Dog unless he can get his way all the way here from mid lane. And it looks like both parties backing away for now. The Rift Herald will reset. Meme City regrouping around mid lane as is CB Gaming.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that pretty much only worked for delaying the Rift Herald capture as long as possible, because at the end it's going to go into CBG's pocket. They were barely able to actually fight it off, and Spencer was already just controlling Oxidera up there in the top side. I just don't really understand the posturing from Meme City there, because I feel like they could have just collected farm bot side and top side while they were dancing around for that Herald that didn't really matter.
For sure, and we have not taken a step back and looked at the situation in quite a while, TDS, but CB Gaming are 10k gold ahead at 16 minutes. They are insanely far ahead of Meme City Esports. They are going to need multiple miracle fights to get themselves back into this. They are just so tremendously behind.
Ideally, starting with Kisante getting an item would be really good, because Spencer has 2 items completed. To Kisante's no items. There's nothing that the K'Sante can do against this Urgot. They cannot stop this Dragon Take as well, by the way. So Meme City has to buy time. And I kind of put them on a timer where it was, I think, 28 to 30-minute mark where they can start fighting. Well, that timer gets completely pushed back by each K of gold that CBG has in advantage. That means that if they have 10K, it's at the very least 11 minutes. Not going to make it so that it's exact maths, but at the very least 11 minutes more. You have to wait till you can finally fight back. And you cannot lose Drakes in that time, you cannot lose Baron in that time, because that can be game over.
Definitely can be. CB Gaming pinning Meme City Esports here in the past the 10-minute mark, just finding every single fight, not really giving up much of anything. These objective bounties would do a good job of getting Meme City at least somewhat back in the conversation, but they just haven't found any opportunities to do anything. They, instead of overloading one side to take multiple turrets, they're just staying up in every lane, right? Like Spencer's playing a PvE game basically, or at least a 1v1 game up against Asadero, just shoving in that top lane over and over again, never really needing to leave. And the same thing's happening on bot. They're just keeping on with their lane assignments and not giving up anything.
Yeah, but right now Spencer is trying to persecute Asadero up there in the top side. This is just a consistent fight in every way possible. Oh.
Ooh, Asadero getting a little bit chased down by Spencer here, but here comes Positive P trying to force everything in onto this Urgot, but he's still plenty tanky with that Black Cleaver. They haven't even worked through the shield, and there's Shaka with a fantastic Magnet Storm on top of the Moonfall. CB Gaming ripped through the Meme City Esports roster, and they are going to march into the base.
And in the meanwhile, Attack Dog sadly is in the bot side, and the only thing he can do is watch as everything falls apart for Meme City over on the top side. The Herald barely lost health. That means that they can actually just keep on pushing onto this turret. Onto the Nexus even. They could even try after this inhibitor take.
Yeah,
could this be a pre-20-minute game? Okay,
yeah, Attack Dog's alarms are going off. He gets back in the base. Belko's there. Positive Pete's there as well. This Ritz Herald might get a charge if they can't find the big auto, and they can't. They nearly lose a Nexus turret here.
Knocking on Nexus door at 18 minutes. They are getting another turret as well in the meanwhile. They are just so far ahead, and if they lose this fight, it could be the game.
In button, getting pressed, everything getting focused in onto 2-0.
Let's go.
Shut down Positive P with 100% kill participation, 100% kills for Meme City Esport. He gets his second.
He's trying his hardest as the jungler there. Positive P, but will it be enough? Who knows? It starts with that shutdown. That could be the play. And we see the repetition here. Although on live, they are persecuting the Lee Sin. Doubtful needs to be careful here.
Yeah, here comes Pain Shell, flanked in on two sides. Will get knocked up. Will get locked down by the Everfrost, and is going to drop shutdown gold over to Pain Shell, and no punish opportunity for CB. Meme City, they find themselves a second one.
See, they needed kills, and they found two huge kills onto two important targets. Shutdown goal, Positive Feed doesn't get that last kill either, so they are able to secure it. Are they going to try and play for this Baron, though? Well, we get the repetition once again over on the fight of the top side. Meanwhile, the fight is happening live again. Rexa is dying. I think they killed Positive Feed here.
Chaka's down. We're watching two plays at once. We're calling both games. TDS says it's going to be 4 kills over to Meme City in live. Meanwhile, this big wombo combo turnaround in the top lane is what put Meme City this far behind in the first place. At least part of it is now. Here's another one from 2-0 running in. Basically 1 versus 5. He's got only eyes for Pain Shell, though. Stepping right past everybody.
Wait, they're winning.
Is taking the Nexus at the same time. Meme City, they're getting 1v1, one at a time. Josu goes unstoppable as he finds himself Attack Dog. Here comes Lee Sin to close on out on a Belko experiment, and it's just Spencer and Pain Shell alone with the Nexus and some minions. CB Gaming take a dominant game number 1.
That was an ending, Gordo. An ACL ending on all its majesty. That was something I wasn't expecting, but it come through in the best way possible. Meme City showing small, very small signs of life at the end of that game. A couple of kills, going for Baron as a last-ditch effort, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you can see on the kill score, by the way, in this replay. Everything dying, and Spencer just playing PvE. He teleports topside to the super minions pushing and just wins the game. He doesn't care. He's just doing his job here, and a really good job at that.
Yeah, I mean, you can see all the things coming on down. It is actually just with the sole interest of stopping recalls, that whole play goes down from Tuzio. He is just chasing Pain Shell down the whole way through. He's got multiple like sub 200 HP targets sitting right next to him, and he does not care. He's only caring about stopping that RE recall. He says, I got enough kills this game. Let's just close it out right now.
Well, yeah, if they just stop it, they get the win, and that's exactly what happened in the end. We'll argue, though, Spencer probably didn't care if the Ari backed or not. You can see it in the replay. Too much health, too much damage, barely the Ari scratching him, and at the end, you can see that huge mountain in favor of the side of CBG. It started with the first blood, and it never stopped. It just was so consistent from them this game. The sort of snowball effect we wanted to see from this comp, because they needed to get ahead early and destroy the team with that, and they did so really effectively.
Yeah, definitely. Those comfort picks really coming in through big time for CB Gaming in this first game. Spencer showing what he's made of with that early first blood and holding Cassante to a support value of damage there pretty much the whole way through. And then just some great plays by Tuzio coming in with the wombo combos as well. And I especially want to highlight the Rel performance coming out of the Chaka. We saw some really big turnarounds in the bot lane early on to start to really swing that jungle matchup. And we talked about how important that was early on. You know, we do so much talking about what the team comps look like at 28 minutes, and we don't even get close to that.
Exactly, 100% agree. If they snowball out of control, then even if your comp can outscale, if they never get there, it doesn't matter. And the side of CBG played that off really well. I do agree as well. Chaka, I would even say he's the MVP to me because his engages were amazing, and also he set up really well for a lot of the potential fights, moving around as well with the jungle. I would say it's between him and Doubtful, which I would give the MVP for the game overall. Really good performance between the two players and setting up a really good precedent looking forward for game 2 of the series.
Yeah, no, a really rough look for game number 1 out of Meme City Esports. We will see what they are going to do coming into this game number 2 to try to pull their way back in it and see if they can stay competitive for these playoffs. But a great look out of CB Gaming. They're going to want to keep this momentum going if they want to make that climb themselves. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get in the draft for game number 2, but we're going to be back before too long to see how the rest of this series plays out. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Champions League, where CB Gaming just took a dominant game number 1 over Meme City Esports. We are getting ready to get into draft number 2 to see how they're going to be able to turn things around over on the Meme City side. They're going to start things off with a little bit of a side selection swap. They are going to be on the blue side coming into game number 2.
You may change sides, but you still are going to get those 2 bans taken away from you, right? So you have to work with that. I would still argue changing sides, easiest thing to try and change around from game 1 to game 2 in League of Legends. And if you're able to find a really good first pick that you can play around with, can be quite a deal. Last game, if I'm not wrong, first pick was that Rel. So probably going to be something that both teams try and contest between each other, because as we were talking, Chaka had an amazing Rel game, and it's a champion that right now you really cannot ignore it in the current meta.
Yeah, no, not at all. And like he said, Chaka had a fantastic Rel game. I'm very curious to see, though. I mean, Chaka is one of the most target banned players on the side of CB Gaming. Well known for his Pike, really. Like, his Pike is what draws the most bans. He's got most games on that one in solo queue. He usually isn't able to play it in the ACL, but you know, we're in a position here for Meme City where they do not have a lot of bans. They're going to have to let a bunch of stuff through. It might be available, and we'll see if it's something he's interested in taking. We've already seen from CB Gaming that they're in a kind of headspace right now where they're like, you know what, we're going to pick our comfort champions. We don't care if they're meta or not. So I'm kind of fingers crossed here for a little bit of a Pike angle.
Well, in the previous game, they didn't ban any supports. If I'm not wrong, they banned Kai'Sa, Action, and Evia. It was the 3 bans from Meme City. So if they are or Action, actually it was Kai'Sa, Action, and I think another mid laner. But
Kai'Sa, Akshan, and Lissandra.
Okay, yeah. So Lissandra instead of the Anivia. 2 cold champions, pretty close. But they didn't ban the Pike. Now with the Rel banned away and a potential pick on the side of Meme City that is not that Pike, I would hope to see it from CBG. I actually want to see the Chaka Pike this game if possible.
I would love to see it too. The Lee Sin is the ban of choice. The Kai'Sa is going to be the first pick of choice for Meme City. We'll see if that is going to be going for Attack Dog. If it was DYC in, I would think for sure it was going to be that Kai'Sa. He's been a big Kai'Sa fan throughout the season and is a big Kai'Sa fan in solo queue. We'll see if that remains true when they have Attack Dog in instead. CB Gaming, though, now with the picks in their hands, they have plenty of opportunity to take whatever they're looking for. They could go for the Varus again. That looked pretty good last time. Instead, they're going for the Zeri. I think this kills our Pike dreams, TDS. I don't think you can go Zeri Pike. I don't think that's a real thing.
But what if it's the Zeri myth that was played just a couple of weeks
not
ago?
Impossible.
Well, it was with the stronger version of the Static Shift. I think that it's not fully dead, but I wouldn't be super hyped for a potential Zeri mid here. Would have loved it, but more than likely it's not going to be the case. Especially because I do think that Kai'Sa is going to go towards that mid lane position. You're talking about the potential from the bot lane, but right now I think that the main pick and ban comes through from the fact that she's so strong mid in a lot of situations thanks to the Static Shift, that you cannot give it up, especially with the blank band away. Like, I think that's the main one you pick when you go against Kai'Sa in the mid lane, and vice versa. So if LeBlanc is banned away, you probably don't want to play against it in the mid lane without a good champion there.
All right, so the Turbo Flex Gragas coming through for CB Gaming. I would put my money on this being Doubtful's Gragas, especially with the Lee Sin band. He's a bit more of a Gragas guy. That's where they've put it when they've been drafting it before. He played it up against Packwatch last week, so could certainly end up coming in there. Graves is the lock-in for Meme City. You know, could this be that mid lane Graves that folks have been grabbing onto lately? Probably not. It's more likely to be a jungler, but mid lane Graves is a thing, and now Senna lock-in for Meme City throws a lot into question. Yeah. Pike's locked in. Let's go, baby.
As soon as I saw the Senna, I was going to say, this is a perfect angle for Pike. You have 3 squishies, 2 marksmen technically. Even if Zeri goes into the bot lane, you have the burst damage there because these are 2 squishies. And I would argue, send Zeri mid lane. Find another bot lane champion. Just go for something else bot lane. I think it's worth it here.
For sure here, as we get to see the Pike, and there's going to be the Urgot ban, so they get to play a little bit of defense over what they saw last game. They are going to make sure that that top lane matchup is at least going to look a little bit better the Swain ban away from CB Gaming too, just trying to take away some of the stuff that they think might be powerful coming in out of Pain Shell in the mid lane. Going to be that Anivia ban once again as well.
Yeah, last game it was the Action and the Lissandra, right? They still have 2 potential bans here, but I think they are going to ban once again the Action here. I don't know why, but I think that the potential Action Pike combo can be a bit scary for some teams. You never really know if someone is going to keep being dead until you play around it, but it's still going to be Ducio's Diana. So yeah, taking away the 3 most impactful champions in the previous game plus the Rel that was already banned.
Now Ducio, not a one trick, does have plenty of other champs that they've been pulling out in solo queue as well. While they have a lot of games on Diana, they have a lot of games on a few champs. They have a lot of Vex games, they have a lot of Kali games, and they have a lot of Lissandra games, as this is going to be the lock-in for them. They're going to try to play this as a little bit of a counter-engage tool. I think it's going to be really good, especially up against these kind of shorter range marksmen like Kai'Sa and Graves. It's also good lockdown for longer range marksmen like the Senna.
So now I'm thinking, by the way, as well, if this turns into a Senna Kai'Sa bot lane, what do you take mid lane? But if it's not, well, okay, it's Sylas. So yeah, now it is Senna Kai'Sa in the bot lane potentially, or Sylas in the top lane as well if you flex around with it. Like, there's angles to try and play around with this in terms of the flex potential. But I think that with the Jax pick now, probably going to be the Jax and the Sylas soul lanes, the Graves in the jungle, and the Kai'Sa and the Senna in the bot lane. This is the perfect opportunity for a good counter pick here by Spencer, and he's not shy from doing that 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's very comfortable on the Cassante himself, and that is available. It is something you can play up against the Jax. I mean, some people like the Jax in a Cassante matchup, though. Yeah. So certainly not going to be that cut and dry. Stubborn it. He's gonna lock it in.
Cut and dry.
I could do the drafts for CB Gaming, man. Look, all right. I looked at some OPGGs. I can figure it out from there. But that's gonna be the comp for CB Gaming. It is the Zeri Pike bot lane. So like, as much as I like the Pike into Senna, I feel like this is not a real duo. But I feel like Senna Kai'Sa isn't really that real of a duo either. So we're going solo queue style today.
Yeah, like, it feels like it's doable, particularly when you hit the level 6 power spike, right? When you have the ultimate from the Zeri plus the ultimate from the Pike, there is burst potential there. You do get an opportunity to actually blow people up from 100 to 0 really quickly with that sort of burst duo coming in from the 2. The issue is before that. Will they be able to do that before that? Probably not, and they are going to depend a lot on Doubtful's Gragas coming down there on the bot side. But in the same vein, they're playing against Senna Kai'Sa. It's a double squishy bot lane duo, so it's possible that it can happen in a lot of situations if they play it right.
For sure. See, Meme City doing these filler bans on their lost fans with the Aatrox and the Amumu. Duan's gonna hate that, by the way. That throws off his stats site. So Aegis competitors tuning in, don't do this. This is it throws off the stats site. Duan always gets mad about it. Give my man a break. Yeah. He does a lot of good work here. Don't ban fake champs for him. Just leave him blank.
Yeah, we all like doing stats, so probably try and not make it so that it's more difficult for him and for us also to keep up with the stats that are coming through. Also, I'm kind of curious why there's no, well, maybe that's something that I don't understand since I don't do the statistics, but something like that when you can try and keep track if something is a meme ban or not. Yeah, like when Timo comes through.
I think he can. I think it's just a manual step. Well, we'll see.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You know, it's going to be a very different jungle matchup as well, right? Now we've got maybe a little bit more ganking power still out of Doubtful, but Positive Pete might be looking to farm up. I'm really thrown off by this Meme City draft. It really feels like they've kind of just gone for carry picks at every position, and they're like hoping that somebody's going to get ahead. So it's a rough strategy, but it's a bold strategy. We'll see if it works out for him. But Attack Dog and Belko Experiment, especially playing the Kai'Sa Senna duo into this Pike, is where it feels like it starts to get real dangerous.
Yeah, that's a risky spot to try and play against, because like in the previous game, if you mess up once, it really can make the life of your bot lane really difficult to try and play around with. Obviously, you do have the range advantage, so you can try and take good trades early on and try and keep a good distance between each other and try and make it easier on yourself. But the issue comes through when you make a big mistake down there and you get taken out. Something like what happened to Mad Dog in the previous game. I don't know why I said Mad Dog, but I don't remember the first part of the name.
Yeah. So it's Attack Dog. Attack Dog is definitely the That's
I just had Mad Dog in my head for some reason. But yeah, Attack Dog made that mistake in the previous game. So he walked too far forward, died pre-level 6 or at level 6 just as he was hitting it, and the lane changed completely after that.
There's definitely a character in something called Mad Dog that is.
There is.
I know it's like it's a dude in the raid, but there's no way the raid is what we're referencing here. It's got to be something like way more common.
It's not that. I'm pretty sure it's either a game or an anime. It's one of the two. There's no in between.
That sounds right. Anime sounds like a good home or something like that. We're going to see it is going to be the double defense summoners from Attack Dog and Belko Experiment. They're going for the heal and the barrier. That barrier going to be the risk of getting sucked on up by the Zeri, as she does still have that in her passive. Now going to be TPs across the board for the rest of them. Nothing too wild on either side. And again, it's going to very possibly, I feel like, come down to whether or not one of these teams is going to be able to get an early lead. I mean, CB Gaming, they blew the first game open real wide, real fast. So we don't even really know what these teams are going to interact with each other like if they come out of that and more even scenarios. And there were some very close plays, particularly in the bottom lane with the junglers and the bot laners from Meme City, where it could have gone the other way. It ended up being a really huge turn by the Chaka's Rel. We'll see if they can keep that up now that they're on that comfort pick Pike. But if they can't, then, you know, could really change a lot of fortunes versus what we saw the first time around.
I would even argue that right now Meme City's comp, at the very least, does have a way better out if the game goes completely south, right? Like, even if they don't get ahead, when you think about the scaling potential, Senna is one of the best champions in the game. Graves is a really good late game champion as well, the more he scales. Kai'Sa does have variety in her build, so if she has access to it, she can go different parts. Jack's split pushing power is unmatched later on in the game. And then Sylas is a champion that I always value as great mid game, superior late game depending on the ultimates that he can steal, and he has a great array of ultimates to steal this game. You could argue maybe the Seri and the K'Sante, the most meh ones, but you have Lissandra ulti, Pike ulti, and Gragas ulti to try and create chaos in the fights, so I can see that being a big factor. The problem is that if you get a big enough lead like CBG did in the previous game, now you have a support in the form of the Pike that can kill you. So will kill you, by the way, if he gets ahead. Same for the Lissandra, same for the Seri, same for the Gragas, same for the K'Sante. So you cannot give any sort of advantages, big enough advantages early on if you're Meme City, because even though you do have outs, those outs are still really hard to come into play because of what CBG has.
That's a really good point. So gonna have to see if they're gonna be able to find those outs. I mean, they do have some really powerful scaling, right? I mean, the Kai'Sa can just be such a powerful attacker towards the back line in this later game and can really easily try to avoid out on some of these divers like the Pike and the Gragas and the K'Sante with that killer instinct if they're able to execute correctly. Senna gonna scale infinitely. Jack's gonna be unbeatable in these side lanes. They've got stuff to play through for Meme City. It's just going to be on them to be able to navigate their way through this early game and not get blown out of the water by CB the way that they just were.
It's the hope and the way to try and play. Now, we also have to keep in mind the mentality, right? You're playing with a sub, no first two bans. You lost the way that you did in the previous game so massively. Will the players in Meme City not let it get to their heads? That's also another question we need to keep in mind, because obviously mentality can affect how you approach a game. And if, for example, they try and force a play and it goes completely bad, do they just mental boom out of the game? That's something that can happen. So hopefully it's not a situation for Meme City, but it's something that does affect the player mentality from game to game.
For sure, got to keep that mental strong. Coming into game number 2, CB Gaming on the red side, Meme City Esports on the blue. A win here for CB will set them on that track towards making a late season run towards playoffs and will likely be the death of Meme City. The opposite is true if the opposite happens. If Meme City can turn this series back around, they can keep their chances alive. They can shut down CB's in the same breath. It's going to take 2 games in a row for Meme City. CB already has that 1-0 advantage.
And they also get the word in favor of doubtful. Small victories, but they do accumulate. I like the idea of the level 1, by the way. Could have worked out really nicely, especially with the squishies on the other side, but it doesn't net them much of an advantage just yet.
For sure, for sure. We just waiting in on these spawns. No early game shenanigans. Once again, this time it's a little bit of a reversal. Asadero camping the same bush that Spencer was camping in before. And this time around, not going to be on the Urgot, so probably not going to have the opportunity to bully Spencer the way that Spencer bullied him. And Spencer going to take a safe route up into lane anyway.
Yeah, pretty sure Spencer was thinking I did this to him the last game. I probably should be careful about receiving the same treatment, and he walks it off really, really well. Actually, he knows he has an advantage. Oh. First hit for Spencer.
Little tofu strike to start things off, and Pain Shell with a nice trade, finding his way in there with that abscond abduct. So now the lane starting off. Chaka gonna lead things off with a big hook. That's going to be the level 1 usage of the barrier by Belko Experiment. He is so squishy on this Senna. He cannot deal with getting hit by a harpoon very well at all. And immediately aggressive invade from Positive Pete. And he's got to be careful. His bot lane's already losing out on some of these trades. They could go out and back him up.
They really want to start with blood in their mind. Everyone taking a big trade. Oh, wait.
All right, Positive Pete actually hitting that level 2 off of his red buff, coming on up to try to punish the aggression from the CB Gaming bot lane. Josu hiding back out. Chaka going to get knocked down as well. And that's actually going to end up being Meme City striking back in this bottom lane and getting a little bit of relief towards Attack Dog and Belko Experiment. Oh, really Positive Pete. Wait. He's Doubtful? Over the wall. He's brawling with Doubtful. He procs that Dark Harvest and gets a ton of damage in. He's going to be able to finish off the job. One more audible do it, and that's first blood to Positive P. As now here comes Tuzio trying to clean it back up. Josu going to be the one to pick up that kill, but Tuzio left all alone. Flashes in, gets a huge amount of CC, and now the passive going to try to turn this back around. It's a triple kill. It's a quadra kill to a Josu. Popping off here as Spencer gets a solo kill in the top lane. That was almost an ace, TDS.
I would count it as an ace. It's a quadra kill in bot lane plus a kill in the top lane. What the hell is that early game? How do you get that sort of advantage? And I want to shout out the man of the hour to me, Tuzio, with that flash in, sets up for the passive to blow up on people and get the kills. Please, let's get a replay of how that went, because it really shouldn't have gone that well for the side of CVG. It starts with Positive Pete wanting to go for the kill. Also, by the way, live, there's potential kill in the making.
Oh my goodness, there's too much to focus on. We're gonna see.
It's okay. He's fine.
Dragon's gonna escape. He's getting out of there. But actually, the turnaround from the Pike, he's coming on in to trade it back. Check out the replay, but also gonna be a kill for the Chaka in live. CB Gaming gets another one, but let's see a Josu finish off this quadra kill. We were saying that we need to see Meme City try to survive the early game. Well, they just got aced at 3 minutes, TDS.
Yeah, they didn't really want to survive it. They wanted to win it. And I respect that mentality. They were out for blood. It didn't work out, but they were willing to go down and get dirty as much as possible to get the kills. And it almost works out. If the Lissandra passive is not there, they probably get a big enough victory that it doesn't really matter. But quadra kill for the series, Lissandra passive helping out quite a lot. It's fine. He flashes.
Losing that was a lot of HP there. Good play by Attack Dog and Belko Experiment to get that summoner out of Chaka, who has been doing such a good job in this game.
Maybe we see another potential fight here once again.
Positive Pete wants one. He's on his way.
Yeah. They really are not going to stop putting the pedal to the metal until they get something really big back into their favor.
And it looks like it's not going to present itself. Positive Pete, he's going to get the Scuttle Crab. Nobody's taken Scuttles yet. It's too early in the game, TDS. Positive Pete going to be able to clean his up here. So it looks like Doubtful's going to get the one on the top side, but CS leads here to Spencer, but also to Pain Shell, who's been playing very well up against this Tuzio Lissandra, at least so far in the early game.
Yeah, he did a really good job in the early start. It's just that because of what happened after the kill, like he kind of lost a bit of the initial edge that they had in the mid lane. Because as you can see, bot lane is much better for the side of Meme City thanks to the fact that they are double ranged. Even after all those bad early traits and the fact that the Seri was so far ahead, it didn't really matter that much. Oh, Tuzio.
Collapse onto Tuzio here. They're going to get some good damage there, but not going to be able to find much else. Not too much CC to be found between this duo. Spencer with a big trade onto Asadero, and he's actually got the level 6. He's going to go all out, and he's got the recast looking for the solo bolo, and he gets it. Spencer takes down Asadero in the one-on-one.
And of course, with a bit of a highlight play in the meanwhile, dashing, killing, hitting, doing everything that Showmaker was mad against with the copy pasta. Really well played there by Spencer, by the way. And with that, now they have complete control over topside pretty much. Mid lane going to be constantly pushed, and if they are able to salvage a bit of how the bot lane is going in terms of the pushing power, the game for CBG is so easy to play right now.
Cassante, you all know the meme. He's doing Cassante things once again. Finds himself a big solo kill there, and Asadero so far behind now, about 20 CS down, and 2 kills, both solo kills over to Spencer. Talked about he is comfortable on this Cassante just as much, if not more so, than the Urgot. But a solo kill opportunity here for Painshell. Tuzio getting absolutely demolished without access to that level 6, and Painshell will finish off the solo bolo. But now Josu brawling in the bottom lane with all the gold from their Quadra earlier will get shut down by Belko Experiment, but it will be enough for CB Gaming to take that 2-for-1.
Yeah, the barrier comes through to save the life of the Sen and bait Jusio to a really bad spot and end up dying. It doesn't matter though, at the end, yes, you do get the kill into the Suri, but it went to the Senna, realistically. As long as you don't like mess up and make the game go longer than that, it doesn't really matter. The Senna is already en route to be one of the strongest champions in the game. You're getting control over the dragon as well. I think the most worrying part is the fact that the mid lane did die. That Painshell got that solo kill off of Tuzio, and they are able to try and turn around a bit of the situation thanks to that.
Definitely good job by Painshell, now going to be actually ahead. First time anybody in any matchup here for Meme City this series has been able to say that.
Yep.
Going to really need to find ways to play around this Silas now to get these skirmishes in their favor and to take a Josu off the map, who is still so very strong off the back of all these kills.
He needs to try also, if he can, move around the map a bit and try and look for something.
Oh boy, full collapse here on to Positive Pete. He is going to be going down.
And that was a really easy kill to collect there, and that's what I want to see. Oh wait,
we'll turn rack around onto Attack Dog. Josu going to get rooted up, but it doesn't look like they have too much of an opportunity to punish. Was a good amount of damage there out of a Josu, having popped the ultimate, and Chaka's not done. Chaka's looking for a harpoon, is going to find it, is going to get the follow-up stun as well, but the damage just isn't there. The ultimate not yet available, and Chaka gonna have to let that fish back.
It's a different story with level 6, like you're pointing out, but until they get that, it's probably not going to be that impactful. Important that they were able to play around the hook as well, because that could be the difference between Seri getting the kill and not getting it.
Going hardcore here, but Spencer's coming in from the top side. He's going to get collapsed on Positive Pete here as well. There's the stolen explosive cast. Tuzio going to flash over the wall. Doesn't have the frozen tomb and is going to go down before too long. But Spencer now in that all-out form. Can he find the damage? He's going to need to, or this is going to be a triple kill for Meme City. Manages to escape back underneath the turret. They can't finish off that kill, but that's a 2-0. Meme City collapse and they win the play.
Oh, wait.
Spencer. Oh! It was a bait. It was all a ruse. Spencer picking up the solo kill once again. 3 solo kills up against Asadero. A little bit of an unforced error there.
And in the meanwhile, 2 plates of gold going to the Seri. But I hope we get a quick replay of the play we saw in the top side. Wait. Oh no. Chaka.
Lockdown. Chaka. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, talking about the play in the top side. Important to point out, the play could have worked out for CBG. The biggest crucial difference, no ultimate on the Lissandra. Lissandra has ultimate there. That's a completely different fight, night and day to what we see. At the end though, great crucial cast from the Silas to turn around the situation. And if not for the mistake from Oxidero up there, probably a good play to try and put Meme City back into an advantageous position. But because of that, they end up losing the Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're less behind now than they were at 3 minutes into the game. So they're doing something right. They've climbed back 500 gold, which, given how disastrous that start was, gotta emphasize how good that is. And Painshell flexing his muscles here. He's where this lead's gonna have to come back from. But Chaka trying to turn it back around, locks him down alongside a frozen tomb. The ultimate not going to land though. Painshell fights it out, goes on a killing spree, will eventually be taken down, but the gold goes over to the pike.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think Ducio does play that off really, really badly with going back as soon as the Kingslayer is also back. So kind of gives the opportunity for Painshell to get the kill back. But at the end, numbers advantage does give you the kill. And with that, they are also taking away a bit of the CS advantage that the Sylas was getting. Also moving for this potential Dragon. No Pike ultimate though, nor Gragas ultimate. Actually, no, the cask is out.
Yeah, they do have the cast. They are channeling the TP. This is Pain Shell coming in to bring the pain. Doubtful going to bring himself underneath the wall in order to keep himself safe and alive. Attack Dog gets a nice little Void Rush on there to get some good damage on through. And there's going to be the Dragon going over to Meme City. They are starting to find opportunities to crack down on CB Gaming here, TDS, and they get themselves another objective for it. But a Josu looking to go all in onto Attack Dog, flashing in off of the back of the Spark Rush. It is going to take him down. Solo kill to a Josu.
Yeah, they have the first damage with the static shift. May not be the mid lane Seri with the static shift, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to work out really effectively. And they get not only a kill onto the Kai'Sa, but also going to be able to push even harder onto the turret. They have the Herald.
Oh, all in there. And there's going to be Shaka going on a rampage, getting another kill there off the ultimate. Does get the reset. And now it's Asadero trying to turn things back around onto Spencer. He's got Positive Pete at his back for the backup. Rift Herald spawned to the bottom lane, but Spencer going to have to find a way to fight his way out of here. He still is in that tanky form, and he does have the backup of Tuzio. The lockdown comes in, and Asadero goes down once again, and now it's Positive Pete, who's outnumbered. He's locked down by the Frozen Tomb, and it's a double kill to Tuzio. Pain Shell gonna try to turn this back around. He's got access to the Frozen Tomb himself now, and he's gonna dump it into Spencer to take him down for the shutdown. Tuzio gonna be the next target as Pain Shell advances forward. Tuzio can throw down the CC, but he certainly can't bring the damage unless he gets Pain Shell underneath the turret. Pain Shell going to claim himself a kill back, but it's a net positive play for CB Gaming. Pain Shell not done yet though, wants to make it a 2 for 2, but he's taking a lot of damage from these minions, and he doesn't have the ultimate.
He can try and re-engage as soon as he has. Oh wait, he can't. No, he probably dies here.
Yeah, does he actually? As well, turns it back around, trying to take down Tuzio.
Oh no!
Go experiment. Doubtful's up too far. Doubtful's taking turret shots. Doubtful is down. 6-2-2. Pain Shell continues to bait out the plays and make it happen for Meme City.
Yeah, being honest, a bit of a give and kill coming in from the side of CBG. Wait.
All right, another turnaround opportunity here. Chaka with the combo gets it done. Nice. Bo's unstoppable as he takes out Asadero. Now Positive Pete, double kill. Chaka gonna hook another one in here. This is a big turnaround opportunity. He doesn't get it with death from below though. Could have turned this round into more, but now it's gonna be Pain Shell just trying to clean up what they can. Aljun gonna go on to getting locked down, and Josu going to have to back on up here. Just cannot find any more, but it's still a 2 for 0 for CB Gaming.
Yeah, could have been a bit more if not for a bit of the mistake there at the end of the play, but it doesn't matter. They get two, they're able. Oh.
Over the wall, looking for a little something here on the Chaka. Doubtful. There's a solo kill for himself on a Belko experiment.
And Senna goes boom, just like that. Barely had anything to do in that play. She gets completely destroyed, and they keep on running the show on CBG's side. The Sylas may be 6-2, but the rest of the team is suffering so much in comparison.
Yeah, just getting so much damage on in there. And the Chaka has managed to clean up so much here on this Pike, was a big factor in that turnaround, and was so close to at least the Quadra, maybe even sniffing at the Penta there, but didn't quite manage to find the death from below, so couldn't quite get it for himself. But still, CB Gaming, they've built up a larger lead than they've had so far this game. They're now about 5k gold ahead. They're now truly dominating, and Spencer looking to keep it going. A little bit of a strange flash there, got real scared of the Dawning Shadow, and that stops the play in its tracks.
Level 1 Dawning Shadow from a Senna that started with Blade of the Ruin King. Probably not going to have the most value, but right now it does, because so everyone is gaming here.
Well, he's found the solo kill. He's continued his streak. 4 kills, 4 solo kills on Asadero for the side of Spencer. He will not be stopped in this one-on-one matchup. He's gonna keep top lane in the one-on-one as Tuzio turning it back around on a Belko experiment. Takes a lot of damage for it. Death from below doesn't find its target, but the harpoon does. And Belko now getting locked down, but the follow-up is not there. Tuzio and Spencer, they're too low, and they can't step up to Positive Pete. He gets pulled back in, but again, he's too dangerous. He's got a big gun, and they do not want to face check into it. Here's gonna be Doubtful stepping up forward, does manage to get out of Belko experiment. And Josu picks up that kill, and Positive Pete just trying to see what he can do, trying to make the play positive, but he can't do it. Spencer gonna take him out as Asadero has teleported back into the play. Pain Shell's here as well with a big explosive cast. They're gonna lock down a Josu. They're gonna get the shutdown, and CB Gaming are out of there.
They are going way too far forward on CBG's side, but they are still getting some of the kills. Ducio way too much overextending there for a kill that at the end does come through, but I don't think you needed to stay for so long in that place. At the end, Ducio doesn't die, baits the Seri, and ends up getting killed. But the damage is still being done. CBG is ahead. They have the gold lead. The Seri has one full item essentially over the Kai'Sa. It's also the what's the item goal? The Hailbreaker? No.
Which ability?
No, the item. It's I always forget the Hailbreaker. No, the Stride Breaker. Thank you. It's the Stride Breaker built from the Seri. Haven't seen much of it though. I don't know how it's supposed to work that well really, because you depend a lot on being able to dash in and get the value from the passive. But if you dash in haphazardly, you're dead.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see what Ajosu's going to be able to do here. I mean, Ajosu's found himself melee range a couple of times this game.
True.
There's a lot of folks who want to be on top of Ajosu, and so far they've been able to find it at least twice. Maybe the Stride Breaker going to be a big turnaround factor there. Also has found some great solo kills, so if he can get his way in on that again, could definitely be a big factor. But now it's going to be the Rift Herald started on up for Meme City. And no real response available for CB. They now know this is going on. They can look for the collapse. They've got Tuzio splitting on the bot side. No teleport available. Osadero will be able to finish off that Rift Herald. And no response. CB Gaming give that one up. Tuzio trying to split map and get something on the bottom side. But Attack Dog is going to try to stop it.
Well, we're pretty much at the point in the game where the second Herald really doesn't matter that much, even if you get it. Like, the difference it makes in the game is not that big, unless there's bounties, which technically from Meme City could be an opportunity to try and recoup some of the gold that they've lost. But for CBG, it's really not the case. They got a turret in the meanwhile, they got a big push in the bot lane, and they also got quite a bit of CS into their pockets while they were securing the Rift Herald with Meme City's play. So at this point, I don't think that it's bad for CBG, and I think that if they are able to turn that into more gold later on, or better control over the map, it's more valuable for them to give that Herald up. It really has not that much value at this point.
Definitely. Chaka coming in on the top side. Doubtful here for the backup as well. Recall from Positive Pete. He does have that enhanced recall, but is going to cancel it. Wants to be here to defend this turret. They know that it's low. They know that this is what Tuzio was attempting to trade for. Now this Gragas going to be looking in for a big explosive cast. Can't find Osadero. Belko Experiment going to throw down the Dawning Shadow early. Here's the teleport in from Pain Shell. Still a 4 versus 3. CB Gaming have the numbers, but they don't want to turn around for the fight. See if they're going to change their minds about that anytime soon. Spencer's still pushing on the top side. Positive Pete looking to rejoin. Osadero tanks a bit of a shock blast and will be moved away.
Ends up being an advantage for Meme City, forcing the teleport off of the Sylas, being able to give Spencer a bit more free time in the top side. May not end up getting this turret because backs are coming through, but at least he's trying to get as much damage on it as possible, and looking like there's potential. Actually, nothing happened bot side. So it's just moving around the pieces and trying to bait Meme City into doing something that they clearly cannot do.
For sure. So going to be nice little Ultra Shock laser and not much else to be seen as a result of that play, other than that Pain Shell teleport being expended. Spencer still brawling, will not be stopped. There's going to be that big Blade of the Rune King proc, but Chaka's here for the backup. He's pulling Osadero further and further away from his team, and he will not be getting out of here. Although does find his way on to the blast cone, but Tuzio over the wall with that claw will be able to chase him down. But no, he finds his way into the Hex Gate, but waiting on the other side is going to be Spencer. He wants that solo kill, baby, and he gets it for himself. Josu now over the wall to back up his top laner. Will push back the remaining members of Meme City, and it's a 5 versus 4 on the map for CB Gaming.
He really thought that with that he was going to make the big escape, but on the other side, Spencer was already for Osadero coming through. Typically that works. This time around, it doesn't work that well. And also, by the way, you can see that Osadero is kind of tired of dying, and he's already trying to pivot towards that Sanja's hourglass. Did they? Oh, wait.
Belko Experiment just nowhere to go. Gets hit by the harpoon from the fog and gets melted. That's a double kill over to Josu. It's going to be nobody left from Meme City able to really respond to this, and this is time to start up the Baron for CB Gaming.
And that's the risk of running too many squishies. They get blown out immediately. barely got an opportunity to do anything in that fight, both the Silas and the Senna. I think they lose the mid lane turret, probably the two mid lane turrets, they lost them, but it doesn't matter at this point. Those two turrets are kind of useless, and they also don't give bounty, so they are not going to get the maximum gold value they probably could have gotten at any point. This last hit going to be quite valuable, but really doesn't. The difference that it makes, it's not that much compared to the value that the Baron got. And
Ooh, doubtful. Taking a fair bit of damage. Asadero looking to finish the job. There's the collateral damage coming in through from Positive Pete. Doubtful escapes, and Chaka is the one who goes godlike as he takes him down with the death from below. Now looking to move into this bottom river. Belko experiment, maybe up a little bit too far, but does manage to avoid the harpoon from finding its mark. Now going to be dragging up here in 15 seconds. CB Gaming not going to want to give over that soul point when they don't have to. And with a numbers advantage, it should be trivial for them to be able to contest this.
Exactly. It's really difficult for them to try and stop them from pulling through this dragon that is spawning right now. They are looking quite aggressively, though. They think that they probably have enough damage. And they are doing quite a bit of damage.
Getting whittled away at, though, takes himself a Void Seeker as well. Harpoon lands on a Belko experiment, but there is no backup. Tuzio hovering here, gets on in, lands the root onto two, goes into the tomb, and now Attack Dog is going to be forced to heal and dash away. Belko experiment is locked down. Pain Shell gets the trade back, but he's going to lose his life for it. Goes to the thesis, but Spencer's going to be waiting as soon as he comes out and goes on a rampage. Doubtful is chasing across the map. Now it's going to be Attack Dog as the next target. Josu throws himself in there. Chaka goes legendary as he finds another death from below. Make that a double kill. And CB Gaming, they take the fight 4 for 1. They're going to get the dragon and whatever else they please.
I gotta admit, Gordo, I'm enjoying Chaka's spike so much so far. Getting kills here and there, applying enough support for the team that it doesn't matter that he's well, he's technically a second assassin. We were talking about this as well in the game pre-draft. They have the gold lead, they have the snowball running through, so they technically have a second assassin in the team to try and deal as much damage as possible. Seri needs to be careful here, but it doesn't really matter. They have the lead, they have the control. They got the Baron before, they got the dragon now, and now the sacking is going to be stopped as well for Meme City.
And Chaka's Pike is just out here generating income for the team.
Yeah.
With those deaths from below, constantly duplicating the gold that the team gets from these kills. And it's resulted in a massive gold lead for CB Gaming. They are 13K ahead here at 23 minutes. It's going to be a longer game than game number 1, but CB Gaming are trying to make it look as similar as they can in forms of dominance. So far ahead in kills, so far ahead in goals.
So much control that CBG has right now. They really are feeling it so far this game, doing so well with what they have. The scary part though for Meme City is the fact that they are able to a certain degree fight back, right? Even though they are not winning those fights, they have been finding good damage in most of them. And if they get one more item on their important carries, and for example the Jax doesn't die immediately, or the Graves gets another item, fights could begin looking a little bit more scary for CBG. That being said, I still think they have enough advantage to try and win the game off of that alone. Like the Pike has more items than the Graves.
He does. That's definitely a problem in and of itself. And also, Pain Shell has put some of his money into a bit of an empty library here. His books had all the pages torn out, and it's just not getting him very much value as it is. And now Pain Shell going to be forced to dash away. Going to be really tough to get your reading up. And if he wants to be able to actually be competitive in this, and there's going to be the lockdown on a Positive Pete, a great harpoon, and Belko experiment's going to pay the price for it. A double kill comes through for a Josu, and just like that, CB Gaming again secure themselves the numbers advantage and can just keep up the pressure.
When they get the pick, they get the kill. It was immediate that they turned around onto the Graves and killed him as soon as they saw the opportunity. Spencer?
All right, Spencer in a 1 versus 2 here. Attack Dog raining down the damage. Has got 2 items on this Kaisa, and that's going to hurt no matter what the state of the game is. But Josu is over the wall and is ready to turn it back around. Goes dominating as he takes out Asadero, who just cannot catch a break this game. And the siege will continue. CB Gaming take themselves the top outer. They're going to look to move in onto this inhibitor turret. There's going to be the lockdown on a Tuzio. He gets taken out by the collateral damage. A little bit of extra income there for Positive Pete as Attack Dog has the killer instinct.
behind.
Landed the Void Seeker. Here comes Pain Shell to try to come in on the flank. He's going to look to lock down on a Spencer. They're just trying to dash their way out of here. They know they've already lost the fight, and they have got to get out with whatever they can salvage. Spencer is not going to be one of them, though, as he's going to drop. But meanwhile, on the backside, it's going to be the Chaka, baby. He finds his way onto Attack Dog. He takes out Positive P. He's got a double kill in his pockets, and he's got a Josu here to pump out the damage and get the targets low. Another reset. Pain Shell has to go into the stasis to dodge the death from below, and he goes invisible again in order to avoid those autos coming in from Belko Experiment. Dashes on through once again, and a Josu and Chaka 2 versus 4 take down all comers and win the fight for CB Gaming. Meanwhile, Doubtful is still brawling with Asadero on the bottom side, and he's gonna get taken out. Asadero trying to stage the miracle defense, and it looks like he is gonna keep Meme City in this game for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, too much PS from Doubtful at the end there, and Oxidero finally finding another kill this game, getting something back. Yes, they lost 2 inhibitors in the process, but they got quite a bit of gold. Do I think that's enough to still turn around the situation? Absolutely not. But at the very least, it's been fun watching how they just go blow for blow in some of these situations.
Definitely has been there, TDS, and the Chaka and a Josu. Oh boy, these two, they have got 26 kills between the two of them. Only 2 deaths, and even that's unfair to the Chaka, who is deathless. Managed to keep that going last time somehow in a Josu. He's about to make it 27.
That's damage. That's quite a bit of damage. That's what 6 items do to us area when you get this far in the game. This far ahead in the game.
He's got like 2 bruiser items in there. That's not even fair. He's got Stride Breaker and Hydra. What is that?
That's the new gen Seri build. It's something that comes around whenever they nerf the other Seri items. Something new comes out.
This is going to be the new Ezreal, man. Like, every time items get rebalanced, it's just they're going to accidentally break Zeri so often. As now Tuzio coming on in. Speaking of broken Zeris, Josu is so strong. Chaka goes legendary as he takes another death from below. He wants a pentakill this game. I know if I'm Pyke in this scenario, I'm like, okay, guys, I have got all of the items. I have done so much. Please just let me get set up for the pentakill. But Doubtful says no. Doubtful's going to take out Positive Pete, and the game is likely to end right here. Attack Dog and Belko Experiment kiting back, but just getting shredded through by a Josu. Pain Shell was the best hope for Meme City the whole game through, and now he stands alone and drops. Meme City get taken down 2-0. CB Gaming are keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Meme City's playoff hopes may have been destroyed. It was already a tough task, but they kind of get destroyed after the 2 games from CBG. But on the other hand, CBG with an amazing performance in the series. 2 games, one more dominating than the other in my eyes. I think that the second game was a bit more contested until a certain point. Obviously, there were instances where it looked like it was pretty close, but there was a lot that I feel like the side of Meme City did this game better compared to the previous one, and they had a better opportunity. Ignore that graph. That's previous game. We think about the other. And this game, I think a lot of the bot lane value coming through much more than the previous game, right? Josu being so far ahead on the Seri quadra kill to start of the game, finding so many opportunities to blow people up, and then obviously Chaka Spike, finding so many picks, so many kills, so much ultimate value, and not dying at all. I think he didn't die at all in the game, right? I think he finished 0 death.
Unless he died in that last Nexus push and I missed it. I'm pretty sure this man went unkilled.
Yeah.
We're going to see if we can get a little interview with him afterwards here, but a fantastic game number 2 out of CB Gaming. And, you know, we talked about how it was a little bit of different pace from game number 1, but that gold graph looks mighty similar, TDS.
It really does. It's still so much value for the side of CBG and so much more control for them. But I do want to give a bit of merit for Meme City for what they tried to look, what they were able to find in certain situations. And if a couple of things went different, the game probably looks much better for them, particularly talking about that level 1 play. That was the main difference that really could have been a game breaker in favor of Meme City, but instead it went for CBG and they played around that super effectively.
Absolutely here, and imagine showing this damage chart to somebody in season 2 TDS. I mean, it's Zeri obviously in front with nearly 34k damage, doubling anybody else in the game. Number 2 in damage is the support on the losing team.
Let's go.
And number 3 in damage, if we ignore Silas, because I didn't notice Silas had a little bit more. Almost number 3 in damage is the support on the winning team. I mean, Chaka gets the second most damage on his team on this Pyke. Just the crazy numbers coming out of these champions. What has Riot done? What are these support champions these last couple of years, man?
This is something that has come through from multiple years of trying to make support a fun role, and I think this is the outcome. It's worked, but this is the outcome.
It's wild, dude. All right. Well, we're going to have an interview with Josu coming in here in just a couple of seconds. We're going to throw it to a quick break while Caddy gets that all set up. But we're going to be right back to talk to Josu about tonight's match. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Champions League, where we are rejoined by Josu here off of the victorious CB Gaming. Josu, congratulations on the 2-0 win tonight, my guy. You are keeping your playoff dreams alive.
Appreciate that, man.
No, want to talk a little bit about the playoff picture here. So you guys had a bit of a rough go of it in the first 5 weeks, winning a lot of games, but not quite as many series. Now, gonna be a tough road to try to make the playoffs in the back half here. Still possible, especially off the back of this 2-0 win. Is that something you guys are thinking about a lot as you come into these last couple of weeks of games, or just trying to play it out as best you can and whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, we're definitely thinking about it. The first few weeks were obviously pretty unlucky. We faced really good opponents, but we were able to take some games off of them, which I think is definitely going to help our chances going into this next week and hopefully make playoffs.
Yeah, and that's something we were kind of talking about that you're mentioning with the opponents you faced, right? The fact that at the last weeks you're going to face the standing-wise weakest teams. It's could be seen as lucky because it can give you a bit of a lucky-based confidence boost moving if you do get to playoffs, a confidence boost in that regard. But because of the other matches, it also kind of puts you in the spot where you're really not dependent on yourselves to try and get to playoffs. Obviously, it depends on other potential scenarios and things like that. But I feel like you guys have improved so much that if you're able to get to playoffs, could be a team that others are looking forward to. And I'm kind of curious in what big changes were made from start to right now to really try and accomplish that big improvement from the team.
I think early on, I think we had like 1 or 2 roster swaps, which I think at the end helped us. Also, me and Chaco, both of us are relatively new to competitive play, so I think us getting to know each other and our styles bot lane a lot better is helping us because we're kind of destroying bot lane recently, so we're kind of stepping it up a little bit.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Definitely can see that a little bit there. I want to talk a little bit about the game two duo. So you guys go in for the Zeri Pike in this game number 2. That's not a duo we get to see a whole bunch of. Was it like we talked about it being as like Pike's good into the Senna, so maybe a little bit of counter pick there. Also, definitely some comfort for Chaka, especially as he's a big Pike guy. What are kind of the thoughts coming into drafting that duo in this game number 2 situation?
This might sound kind of dumb, but they locked Kaisa. We wanted to Kaisa Pike going into it, like guaranteed, because it just would have been, you know, fun. But they locked the Kaisa, which we kind of expected. So next up on my list was kind of lock Zeri, and I really wanted to try out the Stridebreaker build in like a competitive match. And then when they locked Senna, I mean, it was just an easy Pike angle.
And I'm glad you bring up the Stridebreaker angle from the Zeri, because I've seen it promoted. I haven't seen it actually. And the only thing I can think about it being good is the fact that you get health and also you dash in and you're able to slow people, so killing them is easier. But in theory and in way that it works, it sounds like a build that you can only go if you're ahead. Because if you try to go for it for behind, it feels like you're lacking damage.
Yeah, I would slightly agree. I usually build it no matter what. The Stridebreaker, the reason I go Stridebreaker is if you look at what the stats give on it, it's just like, I think if you look at Triforce, because, you know, Zeri's better with health because she needs to survive. When they nerfed the Sheen on her Q passive, the Stridebreaker does the exact same thing, except gives her more base stats at 2 items than Triforce would have.
Okay. You're pretty much not like, I don't want to say neglect, but like the passive is a secondary thing more so. The passive, no, the active is a secondary thing more so than the value of the other stats from the item. Okay.
Yeah, the passive's more of like for example, this game, if Jax was to jump on me, he won't have Q, so I just Stridebreaker and then I can walk out of it. Like, that's kind of an example of when to use it.
Good stuff. All right. Well, so looking at some of the other standings here, you guys are probably looking to try to move up over like TA Prime and Pack Watch. They're playing each other this week. I don't know how much playoffs math you guys have done coming into this. Any thoughts on that matchup in particular? Who you think might win, who you're hoping to win, as we start to come in to see if you're going to be able to claim that 6th place spot?
Yeah, I've done a little bit myself just because it would be great to make playoffs. Obviously, going 0-4 at the start, making playoffs would be huge. We 2-0'd Packwatch last week, and then we lost 1-2 to TA. So I'm expecting TA to win, but if TA does not win, then I think that's our best. Like, that game matters so much for us to get into playoffs, because I think if TA drops it, we have higher game score, and if Packwatch wins, we'll still probably win the head-to-head and game score.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much right there. Probably big Packwatch fans coming into the day. If TA Prime wins, then you have to be Meme City fans, as they're going to be the opponents for TA Prime coming into that last week. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's going to come pretty close to rounding us out for the day. So I want to give the last thing over to you, Josu. Anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say to those who are tuning in for right now?
Just shout out to all the boys in chat. Rootin' CB on. I really appreciate you guys. Shout out to Chaka. We fucking nailed it today. Shout out to my entire team. Last thing I have to say is you guys better hope we don't make playoffs, because we might make some stuff happen.
All right, exciting stuff. I love to hear it. Josu, thanks so much for joining us here. And thank you, everybody at home, for tuning in to today's broadcast. NACL qualifiers are going to start this weekend, so a quick good luck coming through to Chaotic Solar, Team Ambition, CB Gaming, CCG, No AoE Damage, Mirage, Middlesticks, and Kosa Gamers Squad, as well as all of our other players here from the ACL who are going to be competing. TDS and I, as we said, will be on the Team Ambition stream, so you can check us out there. But that's going to do it for this week's stream of the Aegis Champions League. We will be back next week for the final week of the regular season as we find out who are going to be making their way into playoffs. But until then, from myself, TDS, and Caddy on production, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.